Shiraz, is the sixth most populous city of Iran and the capital of Fars province. At the 2011 census, the population of the city was 1,460,665 and its built-up area with Shāhrī Sadra was home to 1,500,644 inhabitants. Shiraz is located in the southwest of Iran on the Rud-Khanai-Kosh seasonal river. It has a moderate climate and has been a regional trade center for over 1,000 years. It is regarded as one of the oldest cities of ancient Persia. The earliest reference to the city, as ʃiːrăːz, is on Elamite clay tablets dated to 2000 BC. In the 13th century, Shiraz became a leading center of the arts and letters, due to the encouragement of its ruler and the presence of many Persian scholars and artists. It was the capital of Persia during the Zand dynasty from 1750 until 1781, as well as briefly during the Safarid period. Two famous poets of Iran, Hafiz and Sa'di, are from Shiraz. Shiraz is known as the city of poets, literature, wine and flowers. It is also considered by many Iranians to be the city of gardens, due to the many gardens and fruit trees that can be seen in the city. Shiraz has had major Jewish and Christian communities. The crafts of Shiraz consist of inlaid mosaic work of triangular design, silverware, pile, carpet weaving and weaving of kilim, called gilam and jajim in the villages and among the tribes. In Shiraz, industries such as cement production, sugar, fertilizers, textile products, wood products, metalwork and rugs dominate. Shiraz also has a major oil refinery and is also a major center for Iran's electronic industries. 53% of Iran's electronic investment has been centered in Shiraz. Shiraz is home to Iran's first solar power plant. Recently, the city's first wind turbine has been installed above Babaku High Mountain near the city. Etymology. The earliest reference to the city is on Elamite clay tablets dated to 2000 BCE, found in June 1970. While digging to make a kiln for a brick factory in the southwestern corner of the city, the tablets written in ancient Elamite name a city called ʃiṛāz. Phonetically, this is interpreted as Tyrasis or Ʃiṛāz. This name became Old Persian, Šīrāz. Through regular sound change comes the modern Persian name Shiraz. The name Shiraz also appears on clay ceilings found at a 2nd century CE Sassanid ruin, east of the city. By some of the native writers, the name Shiraz has derived from a son of Tamurus, the third Shah of the world according to Ferdowsi's Shahnameh. History. Pre-Islamic Shiraz is most likely more than 4,000 years old. The name Shiraz is mentioned in cuneiform inscriptions from around 2000 BCE found in southwestern corner of the city. According to some Iranian mythological traditions, it was originally erected by Tamurus Divband, and afterward fell to ruin. The oldest sample of wine in the world, dating to approximately 7,000 years ago, was discovered on clay jars recovered outside of Shiraz. In the Achaemenian era, Shiraz was on the way from Susa to Persepolis and Pasargadae. In Ferdowsi's Shahnameh it has been said that Artabanus V, the Parthian emperor of Iran, expanded his control over Shiraz. Ghazri Abu Nasr, which is originally from Parthian era, is situated in this area. During the Sassanid era, Shiraz was in between the way which was connecting Bishapur and Gur to Istak. Shiraz was an important regional center under the Sasanians. Islamic period. The city became a provincial capital in 693, after Arab invaders conquered Istak, the nearby Sasanian capital. As Istak fell into decline, Shiraz grew in importance under the Arabs and several local dynasties. The Buwayhid Empire made it their capital, building mosques, palaces, a library and an extended city wall. It was also ruled by the Seljuks and the Khwarezmians before the Mongol conquest. The city was spared destruction by the invading Mongols when its local ruler offered tributes and submission to Genghis Khan. Shiraz was again spared by Tamerlane, when in 1382 the local monarch, Shah Shuja, agreed to submit to the invader. In the 13th century, Shiraz became a leading center of the arts and letters, thanks to the encouragement of its ruler and the presence of many Persian scholars and artists. For this reason the city was named by classical geographers Dar al-Elm, the House of Knowledge. Among the Iranian poets, mystics and philosophers born in Shiraz were the poets Sadi and Hafiz, the mystic Ruzbin, and the philosopher Mullah Sadra. Thus Shiraz has been nicknamed the Athens of Iran. As early as the 11th century, several 100,000 people inhabited Shiraz. In the 14th century Shiraz had 60,000 inhabitants. During the 16th century it had a population of 200,000 people, which by the mid-18th century had decreased to only 50,000. In 1504, Shiraz was captured by the forces of Ismail I, the founder of the Safavid dynasty. Throughout the Safavid Empire Shiraz remained a provincial capital, and Imam Ali Khan, the governor of Fars under Shah Abbas I, constructed many palaces and ornate buildings in the same style as those built during the same period in Isfahan, the capital of the empire. After the fall of the Safavids, Shiraz suffered a period of decline, worsened by the raids of the Afghans and the rebellion of its governor against Nader Shah. The latter sent troops to suppress the revolt. The city was besieged for many months and eventually sacked. At the time of Nader Shah's murder in 1747, most of the historical buildings of the city were damaged or ruined, and its population fell to 50,000. One quarter of that during the 16th century. Shiraz soon returned to prosperity under the rule of Karim Khan Zand, who made it his capital in 1762. Employing more than 12,000 workers, he constructed a royal district with a fortress, many administrative buildings, a mosque and one of the finest covered bazaars in Iran. He had a moat built around the city, constructed an irrigation and drainage system, and rebuilt the city walls. However, Karim Khan's heirs failed to secure his gains. When Aga Muhammad Khan, the founder of the Qajar dynasty, eventually came to power, he wreaked his revenge on Shiraz by destroying the city's fortifications and moving the national capital to Tehran. Although lowered to the rank of a provincial capital, Shiraz maintained a level of prosperity as a result of the continuing importance of the trade route to the Persian Gulf. Its governorship was a royal prerogative throughout the Qajar dynasty. Many of the famous gardens, buildings and residences built during this time contribute to the city's present skyline. Shiraz is the birthplace of the co-founder of the Bahá'í faith, the Bab. In this city, on the evening of the 22nd of May 1844, he first declared his mission as the bearer of a new divine revelation. For this reason Shiraz is a holy city for Bahá'ís, and the city, particularly the House of the Bab, was identified as a place of pilgrimage. Due to the hostile climate towards Bahá'ís in Iran, the house has been the target of repeated attacks. The house was destroyed in 1979, to be paved over 2 years later and made into a public square. In 1910, a pogrom of the Jewish quarter started after false rumors that the Jews had ritually killed a Muslim girl. In the course of the pogrom, 12 Jews were killed and about 50 were injured, and 6,000 Jews of Shiraz were robbed of all their possessions. The city's role in trade greatly diminished with the opening of the Trans-Iranian Railway in the 1930s. As trade routes shifted to the ports in Khuzestan, much of the architectural inheritance of Shiraz, and especially the royal district of the Zands, was either neglected or destroyed as a result of irresponsible town planning under the Pahlavi dynasty. Lacking any great industrial, religious or strategic importance, Shiraz became an administrative center, although its population has nevertheless grown considerably since the 1979 revolution. modern times, the city's municipality and other related institutions have initiated restoration and reconstruction projects. Some of the most recent projects have been the complete restoration of the ARG of Karim Khan and of the Vakil Bath, as well as a comprehensive plan for the preservation of the old city quarters. Other noteworthy initiatives include the total renovation of the Quran Gate and the mausoleum of the poet Khwaja Kurmana, both located in the Allahu Akbar Gorge, as well as the restoration and expansion of the mausoleum of the famous Shiraz-born poets Hafiz and Sa'di. Several different construction projects are currently underway that will modernize the city's infrastructure. The Shiraz 1400 chain of projects is set to transform the city. After the Iranian Revolution, Shiraz was re-established as the capital of Iranian art and culture. Shiraz is known as the capital of Persian art, culture and literature. Geography. Shiraz is located in the south of Iran and the northwest of Fars province. It is built in a green plain at the foot of the Zagros Mountains, 1,500 meters above sea level. Shiraz is 919 kilometers south of Tehran. A seasonal river, Dry River, flows through the northern part of the city and on into Mahalu Lake. As of 1920, the area had a large forest of oak trees, gardens and clean Shiraz. In the past, Shiraz was a small village limited around the ARG of Karim Khan, and naturally there were several villages near it. The north part of Old Shiraz was completely covered with gardens and green trees that remain still to nowadays. There are lots of municipality laws that prohibit to construct in any one of those. In another view, these gardens are the city lungs and they help to clean the dust and haze or carbon dioxide that cars produced by photosynthesis. On the other hand, we see Shiraz more likely to have the best clean weather in Iran compared with big cities such as Tehran or Isfahan. The reason behind it may be laid in Shiraz gardens. They hold their texture from past, as you can see the dirt road in the picture. Climate. Shiraz's climate has distinct seasons, and is overall classed as a hot semi-arid climate, though it is only a little short of a hot summer Mediterranean climate. Summers are hot, with a July average high of 38.8 degrees Celsius. Winters are cool, with average low temperatures below freezing in December and January. Around 300 millimeters of rain falls each year, almost entirely in the winter months, though in some cases as much as this has fallen in a single month. Whilst in the year from July 1965 to June 1966 as little as 82.9 millimeters fell. The wettest year has been 1955-1956 with as much as 857.2 millimeters. Though since 1959 the highest has been around 590 millimeters in each of 1995, 1996 and 2004-2005. Shiraz contains a considerable number of gardens. Due to population growth in the city, many of these gardens may be lost to give way to new developments. Although some measures have been taken by the municipality to preserve these gardens, many illegal developments still endanger them. The highest record temperature was 43.2 degrees Celsius on the 12th of July 1998 and the lowest record temperature was -14 degrees Celsius on the 5th of January 1973. Economy. Shiraz is the economic center of southern Iran. The second half of the 19th century witnessed certain economic developments that greatly changed the economy of Shiraz. The opening of the Suez Canal in 1869 allowed the extensive import into southern Iran of inexpensive European factory-made goods, either directly from Europe or via India. Farmers in unprecedented numbers began planting cash crops such as opium poppy, tobacco, and cotton. Many of these export crops passed through Shiraz on their way to the Persian Gulf. Iranian long-distance merchants from Fars developed marketing networks for these commodities, establishing trading houses in Bombay, Calcutta, Port Said, Istanbul and even Hong Kong. Shiraz's economic base is in its provincial products, which include grapes, citrus fruits, cotton and rice. Industries such as cement production, sugar, fertilizers, textile products, wood products, metalwork and rugs dominate. Shiraz also has a major oil refinery and is also a major center for Iran's electronic industries. 53% of Iran's electronic investment has been centered in Shiraz. Agriculture has always been a major part of the economy in and around Shiraz. This is partially due to a relative abundance of water compared to the surrounding deserts. Shiraz is famous for its carpet production and flowers as well. Viticulture has a long history in the region, and Shirazi wine used to be produced here. Shiraz is also an Iranian center for IT, communication, electronic industry, and transportation. The Shiraz Special Economic Zone, or the SEEZ, was established in 2000 with the purpose of boosting manufacturing in electronics and communications. Shopping. With more than 25 malls and 10 bazaars, Shiraz is known as the easiest place for shopping in Iran and the Middle East. The Persian Gulf Complex, located at the north end of the city, is the largest mall in the world in terms of the number of shops. The Vakul Bazaar, one of the oldest bazaars in the world, is located in the old city center of Shiraz, featuring beautiful courtyards, caravanserai, and bathhouses. Its shops are deemed among the best places in Shiraz to buy all kinds of Persian rugs, spices, copper handicrafts and antiques. Demography. As of 2011, Shiraz has a population of 2,353,696, the majority of whom are Persian. Most of the population of Shiraz are Muslims. Shiraz also was home to a 6,000-strong Jewish community, although most emigrated to the United States and Israel in the latter half of the 20th century. Along with Tehran and Esfahan, Shiraz is one of the handful of Iranian cities with a sizable Jewish population, and more than one active synagogue. Though officially Muslims, many Shirazzis privately practice Zoroastrianism, or at least hold it in high regard. Shiraz also has a significant Baha'i population, the largest in the country after Tehran. There are currently two functioning churches in Shiraz, one Armenian, the other Anglican. Culture. Shiraz is known as the city of poets, gardens, wine, nightingales and flowers. The crafts of Shiraz consist of inlaid mosaic work of triangular design, silverware, carpet weaving, and the making of the rugs called gilaman, jajim, in the villages and among the tribes. The garden is an important part of Iranian culture. There are many old gardens in Shiraz, such as the Erim Garden and the Afif Garden. According to some people, Shiraz disputes with Xirs, or Jerez, in Spain the honor of being the birthplace of Sherry. Shiraz is proud of being motherland of Hafiz Shirazi. Shiraz is a center for Iranian culture and has produced a number of famous poets. Sa'di, a 12th and 13th century poet, was born in Shiraz. He left his native town at a young age for Baghdad to study Arabic literature and Islamic sciences at Al-Nizamiyyah of Baghdad. When he reappeared in his native Shiraz, he was an elderly man. Shiraz, under Atabak Abu Bakr Sayyid ibn Zanyu, was enjoying an era of relative tranquility. Sa'di was not only welcomed to the city, but he was highly respected by the ruler and enumerated among the greats of the province. He seems to have spent the rest of his life in Shiraz. Hafiz, another famous poet and mystic, was also born in Shiraz. A number of scientists also originate from Shiraz. Qutb al-Din al-Shirazi, a 13th-century astronomer, mathematician, physician, physicist and scientist, was from Shiraz. In his The Limit of Accomplishment Concerning Knowledge of the Heavens, he also discussed the possibility of heliocentrism. Main sites. the tombs of Hafiz, Sadi, and Qajari Kurmana. Other lesser-known tombs are that of Shah Shoja, and the Haftanan Mausoleum, where 7 Sufi mystics are buried. The tomb of Baba Kuhi sits atop a mountain overlooking the city, and the tomb of Karim Khan Zand is at the Pârsâ Museum of Shiraz. The oldest mosque is At-Taijame Mosque, which is one of the older mosques of Iran, followed by Vakil Mosque and Nazir al-Mulk Mosque. The Vakil Mosque is situated west of the famous Vakil Bazaar. It covers an area of 8,660 square meters and was built in 1187 during Zand dynasty. On the 2 sides of the entrance gate there are magnificent tile works and arches. The left and right corridors of the entrance gate are connected to the main room. The citadel of Arg of Karim Khan sits adjacent to the Vakil Bazaar and Vakil Bath at the city's central district. The most famous of houses is Anat al-Moluk House and Gahavam's house, both in the old quarters of the city. The Quran Gate is the entrance to Shiraz. It is located near the gorge of Valaro Akbar and is flanked by the Barbakuhi and Chehelmakam mountains. The gateway is where 2 copies of the Quran's known. The Aram Garden in Shiraz is a striking location for visitors with a variety of plants as well as a historic mansion. Although the exact date of the construction of the garden is not clear, historical evidence suggests it was constructed during the Seljuk dynasty on the orders of the celebrated Seljuk monarch Sunja. Other historical Persian gardens are Afifabad Garden and the Museum of Weapons, Delgosha Garden and Jahannama Garden. Within a relatively short driving distance from Shiraz are the ruins of Persepolis, Bishapur, Pasargade, and Firuzabad. At Nakshi Rustam can be found the tombs of the Achaemenid kings as well as the Kabae Zartosht, which has been thought to be either a Zoroastrian fire temple or possibly even the true tomb of Cyrus the Great. Mahalu Lake is a popular breeding ground for various bird species. Nakshi Rostam site contains funerary-related works belonging to the Elamite, Achaemenid and Sassanid eras. Nakshi Rostam is a site believed by archaeologists to have been a cemetery for Persepolis, where Achaemenid, Parthian and Sassanid royalty were laid to rest. Imamzada Ali Ibn Hamza, a creek in Shiraz. Nazir al-Mulk Mosque, Arg of Karim Khan. Stained glass windows in Arg of Karim Khan. Aram Garden, Kavam House, Tomb of Hafiz, Tomb of Sadi, Aram Street in autumn, Vakil Water Storage. Neighborhoods of Shiraz. List of neighborhoods in Shiraz: Zagari, Abivadi, Farhang Shah, Gasro Dasht, Kuyazara, Mali Abad, Molla Sadra, Shachara, Shiraki Golstan, Shiraki Sadra, Takara, Ziri High, Kolb Sadi, Podanak, Payaga, Aram, Bagi Nari, Siratgar Boulevard, Abiyari Avenue, Artesh Square, Bridgestone, Babaku High, Kuya Jamaran,